And right now, no date has been set publicly for a new round of peace talks. And joining us now to talk about it all, as he does every week, Paul Rieckhoff, host of the Independent Americans podcast, co-founder of American Veterans for Ukraine. Thank you so much for joining us. So let's start with Russia's newest attacks on Ukraine and how you see it.
Putin's not stopping.
Yeah.
No matter what Trump says, no matter what Trump does, he continues to bomb and kill civilians inside Ukraine. It's good that Trump has finally changed his tone. He's much more aggressive on Putin. This goes back to his meeting with Zelensky, the minerals deal, and now, long overdue, authorizing additional Patriot missiles to Ukraine, which is going to save civilian lives. I think that's important here. I don't think 50 days is going to matter. That's a long 50 days for the people of Ukraine. But overall, Trump is moving in the right direction. More Republicans are supporting him on that. And there's a sanctions bill coming, a bipartisan sanctions bill from Lindsey Graham that'll also turn up the heat. So he's got to keep bringing down the hammer and, frankly, not get jerked around by Putin, who is known for that. He's a KGB agent. And on the national stage, it looks like he's messing with Trump here. And I think Trump's got to be stronger and harder and stand in our interests and Ukraine's.
And does 50 days really mean 50 days? That's another question that we've had this week.
I think about it. If you're in Ukraine and your kids are being killed and you're running into bunkers, 50 days is a really long time.
It sounds like it, yeah.
And the death toll will go up. And I think the real question is, what more can we do in those 50 days? And taking a larger step back, it's also important for our national defense and our military to be able to test our weapon systems on a battlefield.
Yeah.
This is actual combat where we can be improving and innovating all of our weapon systems, from Patriot missiles to drones. And that's good for our national security, and it doesn't cost American lives. So I think we have to keep that in mind, that Ukraine is a really important proving ground for our technology, not just our alliances.
Yeah, and we've got reaction now from Ukraine. I want to read a statement from Ukrainian President Zelensky writing on X this, quote, "Russia is not changing its strategy, and to counter this terror effectively, we need to systematically strengthen our defenses, more air defense systems, more interceptors, and more determination so that Russia feels our response." So how much will the weapons that are now moving to Ukraine help them? Obviously, it sounds like a good idea, but is it enough?
It's not enough, but it is a step forward, because what Patriot missiles can do is shoot down other missiles. I trained alongside Patriot units when I was in the Army, and those can create kind of an iron dome, to use the phrase from Israel. But it's not enough. It is kind of a bank shot going through NATO to get them there, and we have to pour it on. We have to continue to not just protect Ukraine, but also punish Moscow and punish Putin and make him feel it at home. And if we can increase the political pressure on him back home and continue to grow the alliances, that's going to be good for Ukraine and good for Trump. This is popular, and I think he's seeing that now. It's bipartisan. It's popular not just in America, but around the world. And he could be the good guy here. Stand against the bad guy, Putin, stand with Ukraine, and put America in the right spot.
Yeah, we've also been monitoring President Trump's getting pushback from the MAGA crowd, calling him to stop foreign entanglements and aid. So a lot of people aren't happy with how this is going. How do you see it?
I think he's caught in a lot of bad spots right now. And I think even within his base, that erosion is significant. We've seen numbers among independents are down. He's done well with independents over the years, but they're not extremely loyal. And if they feel like he's off track, whether it's on the Iran strikes, Ukraine, or the big bill, they're going to leave him, and they're going to look for other options. So I think he's coming back to a more moderate position, especially on national security and foreign policy. A lot of independents are veterans, and they care about those things. And the more he does to put America in a leadership role internationally and to stand with our allies, I think that's going to help him with independence.
Right. And what do you make about the new polling? I want to talk about some numbers, because we've got some numbers here. New polling shows his approval ratings with independents is falling. His disapproval is at 64% with independents. As we take a look at these numbers together, his average approval rating sits at 45%. So what's going on?
I think he's done a lot of unpopular things lately, and I think they also want to see results. I mean, he can talk all he wants, but I think they're still concerned about the border.
What do you think are the unpopular things?
Well, right now among his base, Ukraine is unpopular. I think the big bill is unpopular in some areas. I mean, there are cuts to Medicaid. I think that's going to be devastating for him, especially with older people and with independents. He can talk all he wants, but he hasn't controlled the border. People still feel like there's an immigration and migration problem. There's no wall that sealed it off, and I think that's starting to add up. And there's also all the controversy and consternation in the Pentagon with people like Hegseth. That is extremely destabilizing, I think, for people who just want to see him run the government well. It looks like chaos, and the less chaos he has, the more that independents and moderates are going to stand with him to get things done.
Right. You mentioned Hegseth really quick before I let you go. What did you think about the drone rollout, talking about the drones?
You know, I think it was like a Tony Stark Iron Man spectacle. He looked like a WWE wrestler coming out, so I could do without that. The important policy change is that we are going to increase productions of drones. We need to do that. You can see in Ukraine, drones are going to dominate the modern battlefield, and America's been behind. So on the policy side, this is long overdue. We need to be the national and international leader on drone production because that's where the future of war is.
Tony Stark, I didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much, Paul Rieckhoff. And you can catch Paul on his podcast, Independent Americans. Check it out wherever you find him.